I'd only been in the apartment for 15 minutes, but already it felt like home. The bedroom that would be mine for the next fortnight was perfect. I might never want to leave. The bed was immaculately made with blue cotton sheets and a pristine white comforter tucked into the foot. The floor made of the same sturdy varnished wood that ran through the entirety of Claudette and Louis Linfield's home. Clean towels had been folded and placed on a navy blue velvet armchair that sat in the ideal position, in a corner close to the window where I could sit and catch the last rays of sunshine at the end of the day. Claude had even laid out a selection of her favorite books on the bedside table, to ensure I had something to read before going to sleep. She was a librarian by trade, so I suppose the habit ran deep. "You about settled in?" Claude Linfield had a constant, easy smile, considering that she and her husband had been complete strangers only a couple of hours earlier. I already felt that there was no place safer in the whole of New York than in this cozy apartment. "Yes, thank you." I moved to let her join me at the window, looking down into the street that was so different to the narrow London roads that I was used to. Wider, the buildings far taller, everything just that little bit bigger and brighter than back at home. "It's so kind of you to let me stay. I know that I could have stayed on at the hotel, but hotels are for those without their own people," she told me. "Far as I'm concerned, you're with Will and that makes you family. He's as good as a brother to me and Louis." Will Goodman, the reason I was in Harlem and no longer resident in the luxurious but impersonal Sherry Netherland Hotel. We'd met on the voyage over from England, a cliché of a story. I had been a passenger. He was the band leader, playing to the rich and famous every night in the Starlight Club on the HMS Queen Mary. It had been quite the voyage, and the addition of a whirlwind romance had left my head spinning. Perhaps it was foolish to throw my lot in with a man I'd only just met, but I trusted Will. There were so many others whom I couldn't, and so when he'd offered to arrange for me to stay with friends of his, I'd agreed without a second thought. "You all grew up around here, you and Louis and Will." I could see a group of young boys playing down in the road, shrieking and laughing loudly, until a woman stuck her head out of a window across the street and shouted a warning for them to keep it down. Some things weren't so different from home. Claude nodded. "Went to the same school, and Will and Louis went to college together." "Really? I didn't know that." Louis was a pediatrician at the local hospital. Had Will studied medicine as well? Doctor to musician was an odd career change. "Come through, Lena. I know you English love your tea, but I hope coffee will do." Claude left the room before I could quiz her about Will. Will and Louis were already in the lounge, though they had both chosen to drink beer. The Linfield lounge induced further envy. High ceilings and tall windows. The sashes lifted to let in a breeze and offset the warmth of the early September evening. The fading light bathing the room in a natural glow. An unlit fireplace sat center stage with a sofa and 2 armchairs arranged around it. We were 3 stories up, at the top of what had once been home to a single family. Now the Linfields lived above the 2 other couples. An older doctor friend of Louis's, a mentor from his medical school days, owned the building and occupied the ground floor as well as ran a private practice from the basement. Above him lived his son, a dentist who shared the basement business with his father and his wife, along with their small son. I was yet to meet them, but it struck me that yet again I was amongst people whose lives were very different to my own. I had left school with the bare minimum of qualifications. In my world, they had never seemed that important. I was never going to be a doctor or a dentist or a teacher. Those occupations weren't for people like me. Or so I had thought.